Understanding what your bike needs to keep you safe is just as important as learning how to ride properly. But if you understand or know a few things about motorcycles, it's also going to really help you get through this course a lot easier. So I thought I'd show you a few things that you may not have thought of. For instance, the controls on a motorcycle are quite different from what you find in a car. First of all, your accelerator is now on your hand. It's over here. We call this a throttle, okay? Your brakes are separated. You have a front brake on your hand. Your rear brake is on your foot. If you've driven a manual car, you normally have a clutch on your foot. On a motorcycle, your clutch is on your hand. And if you're changing gears in a car, you do that with your hand. But on a motorcycle, we do that with our foot. And when you have a look at the dash, well, it's going to be quite different from a car as well. You'll notice that most of your controls are arranged on the different handlebars. Okay, so you'll have them mainly in the same places, but you need to be aware that on some bikes they may have changed where they put them. So you always need to check when you get on a different bike. Another little one to remember is indicators. In general, motorcycle indicators, they don't cancel by themselves. So we actually have to do that manually. That can be an issue out on the road if you forget. You have two mirrors on the bike, but typically they can be a little bit undersized and they vibrate a fair bit while the bike's running. So yes, we do need to use them all the time, but we do find there's quite a few blind spots. So part of our training will come up. We'll start to talk about mirrors and then following up with a head check, just to make sure we check those blind spots before we move. So there's quite a few things to get your head around, and it can be a bit of a barrier at first. But if you know this in advance, have a little think about what you're going to experience, and it certainly will help you on the day. Now, when it comes to knowing your bike, we don't need you to become a mechanic and be able to do full maintenance, but there are some real crucial areas that you should make yourself aware of. So we'll have a quick look at those. But first, just be aware that depending on whatever state you're living in, there could be different restrictions for the size of the engine of the motorcycle. So just be aware of that. When you get your motorcycle, make sure it's legal for the license you have. Now, your tyres are probably one of your most crucial parts for safety. Now, you need to keep an eye on these things. The sort of things you might look for is to check that there is tread on this tyre. There are wear blocks to look for. The other one would be to go through every now and again and have a look around and make sure there's nothing hanging out of here like a screw or a nail. So any damage to the sidewalls. And then also we need to maintain our tyre pressures. Now, you won't know what that is unless you have a look in your owner manual or on the stickers on the side of the bike. But tyre pressure is also crucial. Now, when you're washing your bike, you could have a good look over it and just check it out for any kind of damage. Another thing to watch for is when you're looking at your motor, just check there's no leaks, any oil coming from anywhere or fuel leaking somewhere. An often overlooked part of your motorcycle, which is a very important part, is your chain. This is your drive chain. And what we need to keep an eye on here is that there is an adjustment to make sure that it never gets too loose. It also needs lubricating very regularly, because as you ride along, that lubrication tends to fling off. So it should be a very regular service to the chain for wear and lubrication. Another really important area to keep an eye on, like any vehicle, is that all the lights are working. So obviously we have headlights, indicators, brake lights, tail lights. It's generally pretty easy to notice when things like headlights are not working, but you may not realise what's going on behind you unless you specifically go and have a look. So make sure from time to time you go right through the bike and operate every light, have a look, make sure they're working.